a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the faith aspect. And while I was explaining it, I said the faith that we discuss is necessary for the wisely reflection. The wisely reflection, sometimes in the books you find is as a weak attention or the careless attention. And then this wisely reflection is an important factor for the awareness and the mindfulness. Even though you don't hear much about this connection, kocha aharo asata asampajanasa, what is the a special condition or nutriment for the lack of awareness and the mindfulness? When that question is asked, the Buddha's answer is ayoniso manasikaro, unwisely reflection. So then the unwisely reflection bring all the desires what we don't have in the moment into the process. If we have desires, they become stronger. And then also whatever the anger and the agitation we have, it increases, becomes strong. And then our ability to see these things working in the present moment, if we don't have it, and then it pushes further down, it will be very hard for us to see this anger, this desire is dominant in the mind, and that what we call the delusion going to increase. So then in this way, what the Buddha talk about this body-mind process is interrelated, dependently arisen, a particular pattern, a particular phenomena going on is what the Buddha is explaining, you see. This is the speciality in the Buddha's teaching, or the very unique aspect of the Buddhist teaching, you see, how this causes and effects goes on, you see, how this is interrelated. These are the things mostly that we find in the Buddhist teachings, even though hardly you hear it, there are some teachers, monks who explain it, but mostly this connection is what we find, and this is also related to the meditation itself. So then there is a word in Buddhist teaching, you see, that is called Indriya Sangvara. That means sense discipline. Sense discipline is a very important aspect in the Buddhist teaching, you see. So then this sense discipline, or it is called the restraint of sense faculties, the real term, restraint of sense faculties. What does that mean, That means in our day-to-day life, in interaction with everybody, that we have to use our senses, you see. This is a major thing, in our day-to-day life. We hear, we smell, we touch, we feel. Somebody talk to us, we have to respond. And this ongoing connection all the time goes on. So then, as you know, in the meditation practice, especially when it comes to the mindfulness and the awareness, that we always tell that you have to conduct yourself mindfully, you see. Mindfully live your life, you see. So then mostly this mindful living, everybody take it in whatever way it means to them. And then they just try to, in a way, slow them down, do one at a time. And if you wash the dishes and just keep washing the dishes, and then, goes into different explanations of feeling the water and all these things. But this living mindfully is necessary not just to feel the water. In some books, here and there I read saying you put a grape in your mouth and, you just chew it very slowly, experiencing all these, whatever the little juicy things, that kind of a way. But that's not what I exactly understand as this mindful conducting. This mindful conductor, it's a especially not actually the mindful, it is called sampajanyakari hoti, doing with awareness. Rather than the mindful, the sati aspect, it is sampajanya, the awareness aspect is what is to be used in these activities. In these activities, this awareness or the non-identification, that means each activity while we do, we have to do it without putting I into it, rather than just experiencing this, whatever the things. But the mindful aspect of explanation is now, ran miles away, you see. So everybody run with it basically. But when you really look into the real dharma, the teachings, it never says the mindfulness, it says sampajanakari hoti. Alokite vilokite sampajanakari hoti, gate tite sutte jagarite bhasite tunni bhave sampajanakari hoti. Being fully aware, the full awareness of all the activities while you walk, while you looking around, while you hear things, while you wear your clothing, while you obey the calls of the nature, and then when you are in silence also, you have to have this clear comprehension, full awareness, this non-identification. Sometimes it is translated as attention also. Got to pay attention. That whole idea here is not adding I into it, And then this aspect is what lead us to have some sort of a sense discipline. When we lack this awareness and the mindfulness aspect, our senses won't be disciplined. The sense discipline, indriya asangvaro bhikkave saharang vadami no anaharang. Restraint of a sense faculty has a nutriment or special special condition, and what is that? Lack of awareness and mindfulness causes the non-restraint of the sense faculties. Non-restraint of sense faculty is due to lack of awareness and the mindfulness. So then when we develop the awareness and the mindfulness, we supposed to have the sense discipline, restrain the sense faculties. What is this restraint of sense faculty means? Oh, I don't want to see, I don't want to look, I don't want to hear, I don't want to smell, I don't want to touch, I don't want to think about that. That kind of a rejection is not what this sense discipline is, you see. Sometimes this is literally taken by some practitioners, even some Buddhists themselves take this in that kind of way and is scared, even doesn't want to look at a dead chicken saying, oh, I'm a vegetarian. We have people like that, reacting like that. That's not what this sense discipline is, you see. I don't want to look at, oh, I'm scared, kind of. No, it is not what it is. Somebody can take it in that sense. That's all right. But in my understanding of it, That's not what it is, you know. It goes into our six senses, you see. Six senses. That means chakuna rupan diswa manapang nabijjati. Nabhihansati na ragan janeti. That means whenever we see a pleasant, agreeable, likable, exciting, appealing to us a particular form, it naturally generates a particular desire for it, you know. That particular desire is not a something that we plan for, but it just comes, you know. It just quickly comes, you know. It's very automatic kind of, you know. Because that is what we all are about. These are the patterns that we have, you see. So then whenever we see the pleasant, it just comes over, you see. And then we usually go along with it, you know. This is not only to this whatever the things we see, to things we hear, things we smell, things we touch, feel, and sometimes which comes into our memory or the recollection, you see. So then the sense discipline is, you know, when we don't have the sense discipline, what happened, there are many things happen, but I give you a very good example of it, you know, how this appealing, likable, agreeable, exciting, appealing things, whenever we come across what happened, I'll give you one example of in our everyday life, you see. Suppose, you know, I visit your house, and then on the table there is a magazine which has something to do about mindfulness, an article on it, you know, about mindfulness. So then, as soon as I see that magazine has an article on mindfulness, I immediately get interest in and started looking at it. And then you ask, Sunim, do you want the magazine? You can take it. And then I immediately take the magazine and say, thank you, you know, I'm really interested in this article. And then when I leave your house, I take the magazine and put it on my passenger seat and drive home. When I get off from the car, mostly the magazine is going to be on the passenger seat. The excitement that I had when I was at your house is no longer there. And the magazine is on the passenger seat. I leave the car. And the next time, or maybe next day, I see the magazine is still on the passenger seat. And then again, that whatever the interest comes back, and I pick up the magazine, I look at it just quickly over the pages, and then I put it on the passenger seat, the back seat. Okay, I'm going to read it later. I put it on the back seat. And that's the most of the, that is where mostly it ends, you know. So it stays there another days or weeks, and then when somebody else comes, probably you give it to the other person, or the interest is gone. The magazine is going to be sitting someplace. You never read it, you know. This is not only about the magazine. There are many things like that, you know, that we quickly go alone. We can't help ourselves, you know. So whenever that kind of a likable, agreeable, exciting, whatever things comes, these senses, what we hear, smell, touch, feel, and all these things generate that kind of a longing, you see. And then when we have the sense discipline, we shouldn't let this longing to go like that, you know. Reasonably, we have to think whether I really need it, whether I really want it. And do I have more about articles about mindfulness at my place? And can they write something more, or what I already know is good enough? Or is this a endless mindful searching? And then the longing, nabhijyati, means not longing. That kind of longing doesn't happen when you have the sense discipline. So the sense discipline is supported by awareness and the mindfulness. When you don't have the awareness and the mindfulness, the sense discipline, non-restraining, is little hard and difficult. And nabihansati, not become excited by it. You are not overcome by this, whatever the desire, this agreeable, likable, appealing, exciting thing is not overcome you, you see. At that moment, you become, you are overcome by that. So these are experiences, we all go through in our everyday life, you see. But we don't know what's happening, we just react, we just go along with it, We think this is what the life basically is, We lived like that 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and still it goes on, and we have no idea about what's happening here. So this is the thing, when we have the sense discipline, you got to have some sort of understanding what's happening to me. And then once that kind of excitement overcome you, and ragang janeti, that means then the system generate attachment to it. The system generate lust for it. So this is the psychological process of it. And then we are basically with the body stuck with it. If we generate the longing for, if we are longing for it, and the excitement overcome by the excitement, and if the attachment is generated, the body is disturbed by it, and mind is not freed. Mind is stuck in that whole process, you see. This is what happened when we don't have the sense discipline, restraint of non-restraint of sense faculties, you see. Whether we see, whenever we see, or whenever we hear, whenever we smell, whenever we touch, whenever an idea, memory, or what particular thing comes into our recollections. And then we have to be very well aware of it. This is the positive side of it. And then the negative side of it, whenever we see chakuna rupan diswa amanapang, that means something not agreeable, likable, pleasant, exciting, not exciting. And that kind of a negative aspect of things comes. So these are always for us, you see, in our day-to-day life, you see. Whether we stay at home, or whether we are out with others, or wherever we are, these are the two aspects always that we have to deal with, something that I like, something I don't like, something I agree, something I disagree, you see. So these two aspects is always present to us, you see. So then these are our reaction to these things determine our inner peace and happiness, you see. Or how we have reacted to these things, consciously or unconsciously. So this is why this awareness and mindfulness that we develop, the mindfully living doesn't mean you just kind of freeze and just kind of act like a robo kind of a thing. You can shake your head, you can shake your arms, you can do whatever, but just be focused inside and see what's happening inside. It's not, oh, I don't want to see, I don't want to hear, I don't want to smell. We can't run away from life, you see. Like LAPD says, you can run, but you can't hide. So There is no running away from life in the Buddhist teaching, you see. You have to face it. You have to deal with it. There is no hiding, running away. The reason that we are a little away from the people or the living in the mountains or in the high desert is the reason is for us to get a good look at of what our own mind do, you see. And these places, we go there to get a good look at ourselves, and then we come back to the society, you see. We are with people, we see, we hear, we smell, and we touch it. And these 6 aspects, no matter where you go, you can't run away from it. Whether you are in the deep mountain, you still are you're still going to see, hear, smell, and touch and taste, and things come to your memory, you see. You recollect things. Whether you are in the middle of the ocean, still you're going to see, hear. You might say, oh, there are no people, I'm so happy. But your senses are working. Your senses like something, and something it doesn't like. These kind of negative, positive, like, dislike, reaction, everything goes on. There is no way we can escape it. For a little while, we may think, it is peaceful. I'm away from all these troubles and the problems. But later you find out you are not. You are still fighting with these things, whatever you have around. I don't like this. I like that one. I don't like this weather. I like this. That kind of a reactionary thing goes on. So then these are the area, this sense discipline has to be there. The awareness and mindfulness development help you to not to like something and not to dislike something. And when we dislike something, there is a process it goes through, you see. This is also beautifully explained by the Buddha, you see. When we don't like something, what happened here is manku hoti. The literal translation of it is called dismay. He is dismayed. Whenever we don't like something, it is unpleasant, not agreeable, not exciting. Whenever that happens, our mind is dismayed. This dismayed is the English translation. I don't know another way to say that. It is sometimes another meaning there is loss of courage kind of a thing when you are dismayed. But what it means, manku hoti means your mind started to tell negatively things about it. Oh, it is this, it is that. Your mind started chatting what you don't like, what you disagree, what is not pleasant, what is not exciting. Your mind immediately started to give a very negative report about it. All the things that you have experienced in your whole life going to come out of. This is sometimes we verbally do. Most of the time, we do that mentally. You check yourself out when something is disagreeable, how talkative you become, how talkative your mind becomes, how your mind is bringing all the things. If it is happening, you don't have the sense discipline. And then the second aspect, apatittita chitto, patittita chitto, daunted. That means your mind is pretty much stuck with that, whatever the negative feeling. Your thoughts deeply stay with that. You experience it also in the body, you see. And dejected, discouraged, kind of depressed, and you are in low spirit of it. This is how our hearing, smelling, touching, feeling, whatever comes into our mind when we don't agree with, when it is not exciting, when it is not pleasing us, when it doesn't appeal to us. This is the process that goes through in our mind, you see. And then what is the result of it? I am mad. I have a lot of negative statement about everything, you see. I criticize the whole world, you know. And where are we going to go? We cannot go. We can't leave this world. We have to live with this thing, you see. There is no way that I have all this negative, dismayed, discouraged, dejected attitude, whatever. I can go to another planet. I have to live with these things, you know. This is all my mind manufactured stuff. When my mind manufactured these kind of stuff, I am the first victim, you see. I am the first victim of my own mind-made, mind-constructed stuff. And then the second victim is the one you really love, you see. Because that is the person you're going to unload all these things. Honey, listen, you're going to unload all this stuff to that person. And then the next, and it goes on. Sometimes it may come to me also, you see. You may tell, let me call Sunim and tell something about this. So I have to hear also to that. So this is how this two aspect of the mind goes on, you see. So then this is what all the time, this when we don't have the sense discipline or none restraint of sense faculties is there, this is what we do. And we usually take this as a, oh, this is the life, you know. This is how we have to live. And then because of this activity, what happened? There is no joy and peace or happiness that we have experienced, you know. We try to be happy. All the time we try to be happy. In order to be happy, we have to start another project, to do something, go somewhere, to be happy kind of a thing. Always trying to run away from this, whatever the inner agony, inner frustration that has already built up due to lack of our awareness and the mindfulness. So then another little story to tell this, when you have this sense discipline, when you restrain your sense faculties, how you conduct, you see. I tell you a little story, a real one, which I heard a couple of days back, you see. I know this person, he's a good person and has a very good personality, character, been a long time, that kind of a spiritual person. Spiritual, not in the sense of religion, you see, but behavior-wise. Never drank, never did all kind of crazy stuff. A vegetarian, a vegan, you know, that kind of a personality, doing all this healthy stuff and meditating too, you know, and well educated, a good person. And he had another friend, you know. Actually, the friend was a well-known, world-famous a teacher who knows him from his college time, you see. They both are still good friends, but the teacher is a little older than this person. And then this person went through, you know, he's in his late 60s and early 70s, and then he went through some sort of a physical health issues recently. He's subject to all kind of things, and he dealt with all whatever things. And then I still, you know, experience this old age and then effect of all these diseases. And then in a conversation, that famous teacher tells him suddenly, look, You did all these things. You did this. You didn't eat meat. You were vegan. You were vegetarian. All these things. Now look at what you are. It all ended up doing nothing for you. Kind of a statement came from the teacher, this famous person. And then he was telling me this story. And then I thought, your friend, your teacher, you know more than 40, 50 something years. And then at last, look at your form, what you are suffering from, whatever you go through, and just give a statement, only the way you appear now, but what kind of a mind that you have developed, what kind of person you have been, who you have been is totally ignored. And a statement came like that. Look at you now. What this, what that. This is what I call you don't have the sense disciplines. If you have the sense discipline, you never make a statement like that to the person you know for such a long, long time. There were good days. We had fun. We stayed together. We enjoyed things. Life was beautiful. You were nice. You were very honest and this and that. And now it all has come to this and you just have that kind of quick statement. The people who don't have the sense discipline suddenly snap in different ways, you see. Sometimes violently, physically they can do some harm, or sometimes you might give that kind of bullshit statement, look at you now, what this kind of. That is all because of your lack of sense discipline. If you have the sense discipline, you never make a statement like that, because that a statement going to hurt that person for a long, long time. Who you going to tell? This is my so-called teacher, my best friend, finally giving after 50, 60 years, giving a report about saying you are full of shit kind of thing. That hurts. I mean, when somebody punch me on the face, I feel the pain. But after 2 days, I can't recall what pain is that, you see. I never going to feel that physical pain. Oh, it was this much hurt. But when you use a statement to make like that, when you make a statement like that, that really hurt, it really hurt deep down in your heart and mind, and it take a long, long time to recover from it. So that is why this importance of this sense disciplines. In our everyday life, we under different pressure, under different distractions, this kind of a statement can come out, you see. But when we develop the awareness and the mindfulness, when we become really matured, not just becoming 70, 80, but with wisdom, when we mature, that kind of a statement doesn't come out of us. We cannot make that kind of a statement because we know this is just my opinions, my statement that can hurt the other person. Not only it's going to hurt the children, it can hurt adults too. 50, 60, 70-year-old adults can be hurt by this kind of a statement. Therefore, sense discipline is disciplining yourself, You're not letting these kind of what you hear, what you smell, what you touch, what you feel, what come to your mind, snap you see. When we don't have the awareness and the mindfulness, these things, what we see, hear, smell, and touch, can straight pressure a particular memory, particular place, and can bring out such a negative response from us. And that is no good, So this is how these are connected, you see. When you have the awareness and the mindfulness developed, you have a sense discipline. Sense discipline doesn't mean, oh, I don't want to see, I don't want to hear, I am a Buddhist, I'm meditating, I'm stay away from everybody kind of. You go out there, you see whoever you see, you hear whatever you hear, you smell, you touch, you feel, you connect, whatever you bring into your memory, you remember it. But you have a little control of what kind of a reaction going to come out of you. This is interconnected, you see. Without understanding about these things, without practicing this way, you cannot find the inner peace and happiness, you know. So this is just for today, and we'll continue on next Sunday. You know, let's meditate.